This company is more than just shoes by the share. Sneakerheads, who get more than a kick out of their kicks, are making a market that has footwear fans jumping in with both feet. Is the business model of StockX a shoe-in for success?
If you want to get a read on the future of retail, you need to check in with the smaller, privately held companies that are revolutionizing the industry. Take StockX, which is a kind of marketplace for things like limited edition sneakers, watches, handbags, streetwear. They got their start helping people selling rare shoes. And since then, they've expanded into a whole bunch of categories. Now, in the last few months, StockX has rolled out yet another category, collectibles. They brought in a new CEO, and just last week, they launched their latest shoe IPO as part of a collaboration with Adidas. StockX shoe IPOs, they're kind of like Dutch auctions. We're going to learn more about them. Don't worry about it. They're a set of number shoes. If you want one, you submit a bid with the shoes going to the highest bidders who all pay the same price. Hey, that's kind of an intriguing idea. So let's dig deeper with Scott Cutler. He's the new CEO of StockX to learn more about his company and how it's changing the industry. Mr. Cutler, welcome to Mad Money.
Great to be here, Jim.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Now, Scott reminded me beforehand that we met while you were on the New York Stock Exchange explaining Alibaba to me. At the same time, you've been at eBay. You are kind of Mr. Exchange. So how'd you come to get the job, and what's it like?
Well, you know, when this company started, they started with this notion of creating a new commerce marketplace based on the principles of the New York Stock Exchange, StubHub, and eBay, all places where I'd either been CEO or been part of senior management.
Right.
And I sent a text, a LinkedIn message to Josh Luber, one of the founders. Hey, Josh, I'm the CEO at StubHub. I'm a sneakerhead. I see what you're doing. I've spent 10 years at the exchange. I know exactly how big this idea is. I'd love to help. And that started a 3-year relationship.
That's how it started? You just did it through LinkedIn?
Yeah. A day after they started. I saw the idea, and I thought it was just transformational, the combination of all of these things together in this company. And then who would have known a few years later that I would join and have the opportunity to run it in partnership with the founders. But it's been, a really very cool story.
Well, who else would know how to do an IPO auction? Tell us about it. And I wanted to be sure, I mentioned before, that even though it's with Adidas, there are a lot of brands involved.
Yeah, so the concept here is actually pretty simple. So we partnered with a great brand, an innovative brand in Adidas. And you had 3 unique designers from around the world. And in 10 days, they designed, created, and produced these unique sneakers, 3 different colorways. And we had an IPO for 333 pairs of each sneaker. And like you said, so this is the first time where a brand comes direct into the marketplace and allows the consumer to dictate the price that they're willing to pay for these rare, one-of-a-kind sneakers.
And people can be off their mark and still not get hurt. Let's say a pair, actually, the average is for $200. You can put it in $1,000, but you don't have to pay $1,000.
Well, we had 10,000 bids. 10,000
people
bids.
know about this stuff.
Well, I mean, we did a lot of. We launched this last week. It was open for just a couple of days. We had bidders from all around the world. We already have customers from 170 countries, but 20% of the 10,000 bidders came from outside of the United States. 1,000 of those bidders placed bids on all 3 different pairs. And when it came down to it, when you talked about the average clearing price was a little over $200 across all 3, and 90% of the bidders paid less than what they bid on the sneakers.
Extraordinary. Now, you know eBay and StubHub. Are you starting to see better price discovery here than you did in eBay?
Well, this is a totally different model in the sense that, first of all, in this case for sneakers category, these are always new dead stock items.
Right.
And so we intermediate that transaction, means we stand in the middle. So between every anonymous buyer and seller, we authenticate that item. And so it's different than other online marketplaces because we stand in the middle of the transaction. In this case, yes, there are other platforms that do an auction, but not a blind Dutch auction in this format that we are very familiar with in the public markets, and we use this mechanism to price a traditional IPO, but here we use it for products and commerce.
How is it possible international must be like eBay? international took off.
Absolutely.
Are people just more comfortable in international? I mean, why do they seem to like it? And that's where the business seems to be going.
Well, the business internationally is growing unbelievably. Sneakers is a worldwide phenomenon. Right. It's driven by social, but ultimately it's about access for people in all the countries outside of the United States having that opportunity to cop a new sneaker.
China too?
Yeah, China, 10% of our business.
Isn't that something?
Direct, an e-commerce company having direct customers in China. So these are items that you can't get anywhere else, but then they're coming to StockX and we're recognized as a brand that stands for authenticity. And so since we authenticate everything that goes through the platform, if you're buying from anywhere in the world, you know that you're getting a great brand plus this notion of authenticity.
Oh, that's fantastic. Then no one else has that, which brings me to a point that the people at home are saying, you know what, I want to be on StockX, but I also want a piece of StockX. I mean, is it reasonable to think, and I know Dan, a great man, is behind it, that you would want to come public, or is it like the mortgage operation where I don't think there's any desire to go public?
Well, if you see, we recently announced a financing at the beginning of the summer. We raised over $100 million. We have world-class investors, including Dan, that are in this, and I think wouldn't that be great if we ended up with that outcome? That's certainly our objective as a company. Fantastic. But we're going after a global opportunity with consumers around the world, and we're super excited about this innovation in commerce.
Well, you should be. This is exciting. They got the right guy for it. You know it all. All right, that's Scott Cutler, CEO of StockX. Guys, go read about, Google it. I really want you to know about this. I know it's private, so you can't take a position, but this is one of the most exciting parts of commerce I've seen since when eBay was started. Mad Money's back after the break.
Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @Jim Cramer on Twitter. Have a question? Tweet Cramer. #MadTweets. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.